Good morning, boys and girls. Today we will be reading The Tiny Chef and the Missing Recipe Book. The book is written by Rachel Larson, Adam Reed, and Ozzy Arcot. The Tiny Chef and the Missing Recipe Book. This lovely old stump on this ordinary street is home to a creature you really must meet. He loves games and music, and especially books. He is the tiny chef, and he loves to cook. And here is the stump and the house of the tiny chef. This is the kitchen, but what happened here? What a disaster, oh my word, oh my dear. And where is the chef in this torn apart stump? If you look closely, you'll spot just his rump. And if you do look closely, you can see that here's his backside right here. What's wrong, tiny chef? Can we give you a hand? It's finally happened, good golly, good gosh. The chef's precious recipe book appears to be lost. And here is the chef looking for his precious recipe book. This book contains secrets to the chef's very best dishes, the creation he makes when he feels most ambitious. He makes the stew once a year on the first day of fall, and that day is here. And here he is, looking to make his stew, his famous stew. So he looks in the fridge and in other odd places, like under his bed and in dark, smelly places. And here you can see that he's looking under his bed and in dark, smelly places. When no book is slight, the chef throws quite a tantrum. Count down from 10, chef, let all worries go. Let's take a deep breath and let it out slow. And here's the tiny chef trying to recover from his tantrum. His herb garden forest is just steps away. He towers above him with the branches that sway. And here he is in his herb garden with flowers and herbs of all kinds. The smell in the air of rosemary and thyme makes his clipping and snipping worthwhile the climb. On the mushroom trail with its damp grassy floor, oh what a harvest, portobello galore. How can he resist? He takes some to go, so tasty and hearty as our tiny chef knows. And here's the tiny chef in his portobello mushrooms. They are delicious. Back at the stump, the chef dumps out his haul and begins the big task of making it small. He slices some garlic as thin as he can, then sautés it up in his bottle-capped pan. He mixes in mushrooms, potatoes, then stirs, tosses in carrots, some celery and herbs. And here he is. He's got all the ingredients for a wonderful stew. The tiny chef sings as he gleefully cooks. He's forgotten all about his lost recipe book. He straightens his hat. The stew now needs to simmer. And as you see, he's got a big pot of stew simmering on the stove. So he keeps himself busy singing songs about dinner. Waiting is hard with a rumpling tummy. But he knows that the waiting will make it more yummy. And he's sitting on the steps, singing and waiting for the stew. When the moment arrives, the chef gives it a try. It's so delicious, he actually cries. And here's the chef trying his wonderful cooked stew. And that's when his recipe book finally appears, right where he had left it. Now, isn't that weird? And look right here, his book was right on the counter the entire time. The chef can't believe it. His little heart burst. It was there all along. Did you see it first? Now the tiny chef knows what just to do. With his new favorite recipe, he wrote all the steps down as best as he could, then found a blank page and taped it in good. And here's the tiny chef, and he's taping the recipe into his recipe book. The chef realizes he's learned so much today about feeling lost and then finding his way. Staying inspired is truly an art, and the very best recipe comes straight from the heart. And here he is enjoying his stew. And that, boys and girls, concludes the Tiny Chef and the Missing Recipe book. Thank you so very much. Hope you have a great and safe day today.